Hello, my name is David Livingstone, and I want to tell you a little bit about a course I am teaching this fall as part of the 50 and Better lecture series, and hope you will consider enrolling. This course is called Cold War Legacies and Their Enduring Influence on Global Politics. The Cold War era, an international bipolar competition between the Soviet Union and the United States, made the world we live in today. This power rivalry unfolded in the aftermath of the Second World War and finally concluded with the collapse of the Soviet Union in 1991. Although the Soviet Union no longer exists, the consequences of its struggle with the United States still influences modern global politics. Ultimately, the post-war competition pitted advocates of state socialism against the champions of free market capitalism. The superpowers never directly fought each other, but clashed in a series of bloody proxy wars across the developing world. Today, the Cold War must seem to many of us like ancient history, even though it has only been 35 years since the collapse of the Soviet Union. You may ask yourself, what does a Cold War have to teach us today? Yet remnants of what U.S. President Ronald Reagan once called the evil empire is now engaged in a bitter war of attrition over Ukraine's sovereignty, and several former Soviet satellite states are now members of NATO and the EU. Moreover, many of the strategic crises we face today can be traced right back to the global politics and failed diplomacy of the 47-year struggle that shaped the post-World War II era. Today's military conflict between the United States and Iran, for example, may be about preventing the world's largest state sponsor of terror from gaining nuclear weapons. However, fewer people will recall that Iran was a key U.S. ally during the Cold War, or that up until the 1979 Islamic Revolution, the United States supplied the Shah's regime with weapons-grade enriched uranium, beginning with President Dwight Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace program. This is but one of many similar examples, twists, and turns that shape the world we live in today. Please join me for this very timely and informative lecture series in which I will present an in-depth look back at the Cold War, its causes, its seminal events such as the Cuban Missile Crisis, the war in Vietnam, and many others, but most importantly, its relevance for understanding the current global crises we face today. Thank you for your time, and I hope to see you this fall.